Good evening, everyone. My name is Krishna Arya. I'm an executive director and admission consultant. I hope that I am audible, and please apologize for getting 5 minutes late. That's what I feel. So we are ready to start the session. Thank you so much for being there. So what I'm going to do in this today's session, as you know, I think you must have already seen in the presentation as well, because the topics that we're supposed to cover, I think you might have got a that brief idea on that. So what we are going to do is there'll be a presentation. Okay, there'll be a presentation on MS study opportunities available in US, and this presentation will be followed by question and answer session. So what I'd request is, I'll go through the presentations. Whenever you feel like, you take a note of the questions at the end of the presentation. So please type the questions in the chat box so that we can so that we can start answering those questions. Okay. Okay. So I'd like to start this. So I think a brief idea about what Jamboree is. I think some of you already know what Jamboree is. We've got 39 centers. We represent across 22 cities, and we are in 4 countries. So I think if some of you are very new, for that purpose, I have included this slide. So what I'm going to do actually is I'll try to make this presentation as brief and as productive as possible. And if you ask me a questions, I think that's going to be more interesting. So the content that we are like to cover in today's presentations is going to be study abroad reasons and options. That'll be followed by course options. And we will talk about the admissions criteria. This section is particularly going to be very, very useful because, two of the, that contents that we have shared with you in the, that mailer, that, how you are going to select a good school. What about the finding a right fit school. So I'm going to talk a bit about that in the admissions criteria section. So that section is going to be very, very important. And of course, towards the end of the section, it's going to be scholarship options. That's regarding the funding options available for MS students in US. So let's start. So why do students abroad? Simple reason. Different students may have different reasons for studying abroad. I have compiled my own reasons, particularly since this session is focused in US. I have tried to find the reason which students or which we find are more important for those students. Particularly those students who are really looking US as a study destination for the further studies. So some of the points I'm going to discuss here. Quality of education. Quality of education is very important. When I say quality of education, it's going to be very, very vague. But what do I mean by quality of education? I'm going to briefly discuss few points under the quality of education, which I believe is going to be useful for you as well. Particularly in MS. If you want to study MS is supposed to be research oriented. It's going to be research oriented. So having the top researchers as a professor, particularly when you apply to a top school, having top researchers as a professor is going to be very, very that important. So that is one of the criteria how we define quality of education. Second point is going to be great research resources. When I say great research resources, I do not mean to say only what I see. It's not only about the buildings that I see or the equipments maybe that you will use as a students. I do not mean to refer to only those state of the art physical infrastructure. The faculty be very, very useful for the research opportunities. Third is going to be internship options, particularly for those students who are into that applied field. When we talk about STEM, so many of the the programs under STEM are definitely Yes. So whenever whenever I feel like sometimes my voice breaks. If you feel like my voice is uh, breaking, yeah, I'm getting eyes also has a questions. Your video is lagging and all that thing. So more than video, that's fine. But if you cannot hear me, just please, any one of you, just please type a question so that I can repeat the same point again. So sometimes it happens. There are some the technical that issues which I'll try to that cover. So great internship options is what I was referring to. Particularly, so many programs under STEM, it's going to be applied. That's why internship options is one of the attraction of studying in US. That's one of the that I would say like that part of being a quality of education in US. Job opportunities as well. If I talk about now, definitely the things do not look better. But when I talk about job opportunities, I'm talking about the normal conditions. Okay. Yes, Asim, we are recording this video, and we can, so that we can share that video later as well. We are recording it. We are recording this video. Okay, so job opportunities, I'm talking about the normal conditions, and for the students in the STEM field, there are great opportunities, particularly if you are in I would say like computer science or mechanical engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, those kind of field. There are also opportunities, considering the normalcy would that return soon, or maybe 2021. There are job opportunities for international students as well. Ramesh, I'll answer your questions for economics as well. Economics, it's going to be a bit difficult in terms of that admissions criteria and all those things, because I need to talk that in detail, which I'll answer your questions in question and answer session. Okay, Ramesh. And options, agriculture also I'll talk about that. Savina, I'll also talk about agriculture towards the end. Okay, so options and intake. When I talk about options, what does it refer to? I'm trying to make a small comparisons about what about studying in Nepal, what about studying abroad. This is what I find. There are very limited graduate schools with MS degrees. If somebody wants to do MS in biotechnology, is there any university? That is the first question. If there is a university, maybe there is one university, how many students can they accommodate in one intake? Means only one intake in a year, maybe 40 students, maybe 60 students. So it's going to be highly competitive. But when you talk about abroad, I mean US, what are the reasons? Some of the advantages of studying in abroad: better exposure and research. Research we have already talked in detail. When I talk about better exposure, it is not only about better exposure. Is not only about yes. So I'll talk about English education as well, Bhavna. So you don't worry. So please wait till I get to the that question and answer sessions. Thank you so much. So better exposure is not only in terms of, as I said, like, physical infrastructure. It's about having that diversified classroom where you get to talk to students, where you get to talk to your friends or peers from different parts of the world. So I mean to say exposure in terms of that also is going to be very, very, very important. Second point, graduate schools with huge capacity. That example I gave you. If somebody wants to do MS environmental engineering, if somebody wants to do MS biotechnology or nanotechnology, hardly there are any university, unfortunately. That is a reality. So what I mean to say is like, that is the limitation we as a country have. But when I want to study abroad, that doesn't become a limitation anymore. Okay. So for example, if I give you an example, there are some research led huge universities where maybe if I want to study maybe MS biotechnology or civil engineering, they may take 100 students in one intake, and they have 2 intakes in a year. So they may not take that same number of students in both the intake, or they may not offer the program in both the intakes, but still that options are very, very high. And different course options means availability, because this part I'll be talking in the next slide as well. So I'll not talk in detail about this. When the next slide comes, then I'll talk about this in detail. As I US education system, what are the advantages what are the A's, what are the A's of, that that matter over other country, right? Different in terms of, I think my voice was breaking, so I'm going to repeat again. In terms of academics, it's going to be continuous evaluation, and you may get even credit for something like, internship opportunities or co-op or something like that. Okay. So for that reason, academics is one part. Second part is going to be course options. Again, I'm repeating this in slide again and again because this is very, very important. For example, I have included an example. Many courses such as data science, financial engineering, artificial intelligence. If somebody wants to do artificial intelligence in Nepal, or MS in data science, or MS in financial engineering, we do not have that option available. For that matter, even in India or any other Asian countries, you may not find such unique course like, artificial intelligence. If there are any, very limited opportunities. When it comes to US, they are like, the options become really wide and range. Okay, so that second is the course options. Third is going to be, can complete course earlier, take more time to complete the course. I think some of you are, or most of you are very well aware that, in US, when we talk about a particular program, it talks about the overall credit. For example, your master's has a total credit. I mean, you need to complete 42 credits for your master's, means it's 42 credits. You may complete that in 22 months. You may complete that in 18 months. You can take that, you can complete that in 28 months. Or, if there are some, 16 months program or 18 months program, you may complete that even in 1 year. Okay. So it depends on, what kind of burden you can take. So that flexibility you get. So that depends on the strength of the students. So that flexibility is available. And transfer options for most of those students, I think, this is one of the great options for, students looking to study in US. You can either transfer to better university or cheaper university. I'll give you one example. I had a student who went to University of Memphis with full scholarships in 2014. In the second semester, he got a better opportunity from Auburn University. He transferred to Auburn University in second semester. So that is the advantage. That is one of the great advantages of starting in US. Means your dream of, even if you get into a decent kind of university, and if you're trying for some better universities, and if that works in the second semester, you can still transfer to the, that university, or sometimes, cheaper university, if, that looks feasible or that looks better for you. Course options, this is what I was talking about. I think this is very, very important for most of you. That's why I'm going to take a bit, more time on this slide. Whatever you are doing, you can definitely do masters in your current field. You are a biotechnology graduate, you can do biotechnology. You are English graduate, you can do English. You are agriculture graduate, you can do agriculture. Beyond that, there are some, that entry requirements, there are some eligibility requirements. Of course, it doesn't apply to everybody, but along with the masters that you can pursue in your current field, in whichever area that you graduated in, you can even opt for some more courses like, who would ever think that, there are some courses like computational finance, or there are courses like, financial engineering. I'll just give you an example. I think everybody has heard about insurance. In insurance, there is something called actuary professional. What that actuary professional does is, they, in a way, they design a product of insurance. Like, that this will be the premium that a policy holder will, pay, and how the company or how the insurance company is going to work. Means they are going to design the, that insurance product based on the financial model. For that, these are like, they can study actuarial science. And, students particularly coming from engineering background can study something like even actuarial science. So this is like, amazing thing. It's not only the field that you are studying. You can look beyond what you've already done, or what you're already doing. Okay. Economics also, I'll get back, Satiksha. So MS engineering management also you can do. For example, you are engineer, you are public health graduate, for that matter, you are computer science graduate. If you want to have bit of, that managerial perspective, if you want to have that bit of managerial perspective, you can do some, MS construction management, engineering management, project management, all that sort of courses you can do. Information system, that's going to be, that normal. Business analytics is a hard kind of maybe business analytics graduate do is that, I think I'm repeating it again. So if I'm talking about business analytics, what you can do is there is so much data available. So with the data, as an engineering graduate, as a business analytics graduate, you will use that data to analyze. You will make it ready so that your, CEO of the company can use it for the purpose of decision making, business decision making. So that's why, that demand of business analytics graduate in US in the recent past has increased like crazy. That's why MS Business Analytics is something that you can take very seriously. Okay. So yes, Samyamta, I'll answer your questions. BSc student in major chemistry, can I pursue chemical engineering? That's going to be a bit difficult. I'll get back later. All the questions I'll address later. Okay, but you can type the question. MS Data Science, MS Operations Research, MS Supply Chain Management, all sort of things. MS Biomedical Engineering, and at the end in the course options, most of the STEM graduates in Nepal think that I have to do the same thing. If I have done chemistry in bachelor's or maybe microbiology in bachelor's, I just have to do that. If you have got some years of work experience, maybe 2-3 years of work experience, you can even do MBA. Actually, if you look at the trend in US universities, a very good portion of the MBA graduates come from STEM background. So MBA can also be a very good alternative, but you have to be sure about that. And even MIM, Master in International Management. Master in International Management is more for, that more European concept rather than, US, but there are still some, that handful top-notch US schools which offer this, course, particularly for those candidates who do not have, any experience as such. Okay, so these are the course options. So what I mean to say, to conclude this slide, it's not only what you have already studied. You can look beyond that as well when it comes to masters. Admissions criteria, I told you this is going to be very, very important. I'm going to spend a bit more time on this part as well. See, I think some of you are already doing GRE. Some of you are planning to do GRE. Okay. So when it comes to admissions, it's not only about GRE. Yeah, GRE is very important. For that matter, even GMAT is important if some of you are pursuing, right? So that is one of the many factors that the admission committee will consider when deciding, when they are making the decision on your profile. So when I talk about standardized test, so it's going to be GRE. Of course, in your case, it's going to be GRE. Okay. Yes, I'll elaborate that as well. I've got a new question. TOEFL and IELTS is going to be important because most of the candidates, what they think is since I have already done GRE, so I am not, at times what happens they tend to overlook the importance of TOEFL and IELTS. Let me tell you one thing, when you apply to MS admissions, there is no separate application for funding. Your application in itself is going to be a kind of application for assistance. Okay. So whatever you put together, what pieces of, things that you put together in application is going to be very, very important. Why I'm saying this? Sometimes students tend to overlook the importance of TOEFL or IELTS. Say someone, you applied for your master's program. You have taken GRE, right? Now, what is the importance of TOEFL or IELTS? Somebody, the admissions, before this, I think I want to make it even, clear. When you apply to admissions committee, there are two factors. There are two factors that the admissions committee will look into. One is the qualitative factor of your admissions, Another is the quantitative factor of admissions. When I say quantitative factors of admissions, it's going to be something that can be seen in number. Your GPA or percentage can be seen in number. That is a quantitative factor. Your GRE score can be seen in number. That's going to be a quantitative factor. Your TOEFL or IELTS score can be seen in number. That is going to be a quantitative factor. Okay. So these three are the quantitative factors of admissions. And the rest, when we talk about the rest of the things, which I'm likely to discuss after this, these are called the qualitative factors. So what I was telling you is, when your profile goes to the admission, see, if you're like the assistant, your speaking score has to be, your GRE score is not to come. The kind of score that you get. Yes, I'm repeating it again. Okay, so I'm repeating it again. So what I was telling you is like, there is one quantitative factors. When you apply to an admissions, IELTS score is very, very important. A TOEFL score is very, very important. For example, if that university is offering you teaching assistantship, your speaking score is very, very important. Your writing score becomes very, very important if you want to conduct a research. So my request to you, all of you, is like, no, please do not overlook TOEFL or IELTS. There is a cutoff. There is no cutoff in, usually there is no cutoff in GRE score. There is no cutoff in academic score. Unfortunately, there is a cutoff in TOEFL or IELTS score. That's why you have to take it seriously. Okay, so academic rigor is going to be another important factor, which I have already told you. After all, you spend 4 years, or at times maybe 5 years, or maybe 3 years of your life for your bachelor. So academic record definitely matters. Extracurricular activities, particularly if you want to do MBA and MIM. Even if you come from engineering or non-engineering background, somewhere on your mind, if you're thinking that you want to do MBA or MIM, extracurricular activities also matter. Research work. This is very important, which I'm going to talk at length in the next slide also. Research work is very, 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 very important for candidate applying for MS. If it is PhD, it's extremely important. If you ask me, at times, research work is even more important than GRE to a point. Okay, so I do not mean to say that GRE is not important. GRE is of course important. You need GMAT. Sorry, you need GRE score, right? But whether you are likely to get that assistantship or not, research work is very, very important. I'll elaborate I'll elaborate slightly in the next slide for the research work. Letters of recommendations and essays and SOP. Letters of recommendations, who is going to recommend you? Who is your recommender? It is not about the designation of the recommender. It's more about how well you are, how relevant that person to you. Is he in the position of recommending? Is he in the position of recommending you or not? What is the content of the recommendation? That specific content really matters. At times, see, I want to be very, very straightforward when it comes to recommendation. At times I see like, no, I have already, the student has not started the application. They say that my application, my recommendation letter is ready already. That kind of recommendation, that kind of generic recommendation is not going to work. It has to be very, 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 very specific. It has to be very specific. Please keep that in mind. Okay. So SOP is also going to be important. If you're applying for MBA, it's going to be essay. Otherwise we call it SOP. Statement of purpose. Usually when you apply for MS, there is no interview round. Until unless you apply to top schools like, Georgia Tech or Caltech or maybe, University of Pittsburgh. If you're selected in the next round, they may invite you for interview. Otherwise, whatever you have submitted in the application, that is going to decide your fit in terms of admissions, in terms of funding as well. That's why statement of purpose, my career plan, my academic background, my reason for pursuing a particular course, all those things have to be like, it has to be like bang on kind of thing. It has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. Okay. An interview in some cases, as I told you, some top-notch universities, say if you applied for artificial intelligence in a top-notch university like RPI, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, or maybe Worcester Polytechnic, not even RPI, I would say like, WPI, or maybe, Carnegie Mellon, or maybe Purdue University or something like that, they may. It's not mandatory. They may invite you for the next round. In that case, you may have to go through interview as well. Okay. So that's how it goes. So, see here also, I'd like to add one thing, how you're going to select the good schools. There are, 4,200 plus universities and colleges in US. See, you want to do biotechnology. Not all 4,200 universities and colleges are going to offer masters in biotechnology. Say there are 300 schools going to offer MS in biotechnology. So how are you going to find the right fit of the schools? So what I'll recommend you to do is, first you need to find your real interest. That is what most of the students, when they tend to find the schools, they go by, whether I'm likely to get the funding or not. Funding is going to be an issue. That's fine. That's an important criteria. But more than that, whether that school matches in terms of your, whether that school matches in terms of your, that research interest, what kind of facilities it offer, the opportunity, that official, I said like resources. There is no formula as such. I'm repeating it again. If my voice was, Kushal, it was, I'm repeating it again. So if you ask me how you are going to, select a right school, Google is going to be very, 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 very important source, as everybody knows. I would also recommend that you be in touch with some of the seniors that you may have, or any friends or family who is starting in US. They may give you some insight into selecting the schools. And you can also, you can also visit USEP in Maharashtra, and they have, some books on selecting the schools, some tips and all that thing. You can combine these resources in selecting the schools. Okay. I'll go to the next slide. Just a small idea for those students. I think we have a good number of students here who are planning to take the GRE. I'm giving you a brief idea on what GRE is. GRE is required for MS and PhD programs. It's administered around the year. Approximately it takes 3 hours and 45 minutes to complete. This is a multiple choice questions, and we have analytical writing questions as well. 3 sections: analytical writing, assessment, math, and verbal. Score range starting to 60, max is going to be 340. All right. And your GRE score, once you take, it's going to be valid. It'll remain valid for 5 years. Okay. And GRE test scores, this is another important part. I'm taking GRE. Students are obsessed with, I'm getting 322, I'm getting 307, I'm getting 331, whatever the score is. How the school is going to interpret the score that you work so hard for. Most school do not have GRE cutoff. They will not say that, you want to apply to university, Carnegie Mellon University for MS Computer Science. They will not say that until and unless you get 325, you cannot apply to the admissions. They will not say that. They do not. That's why they do not have cutoff. Okay, that is what you need to keep on your mind. If you're applying for science and engineering related programs, you would need high scores in the math sections, usually 158 plus in quant. In the AWA sections, it's very, very important. Again, I think this is what I need to talk explicitly to all those who are present here. Again, what we tend to do in GRE, we are obsessed with 340, that level. I got 311. Nobody is bothered to ask, what was your AWA score is. But let me tell you, if you apply for MS, if you apply for PhD, there was this, recent research by ETS. What they said is the correlation of AWA score with graduates, the probability of succeeding, students' probability of succeeding at graduate school is higher in comparison to its correlation with quant or verbal score. Means admission committee is going to take AWA score very, very seriously. For example, somebody got, one person got 322. His AWA score is 3.0. Another student got 311. His AWA score is 3.5 or 4. I think me as an admission consultant, I'll be happy to work with the candidate, the second candidate who got 311 and 4.0 or maybe 3.5 in AWA. So AWA score is very, very, very important. So if you're taking GRE, if you're planning to take GRE, please take your AWS score very seriously, particularly if it is PhD below 4.0, it's going to be a bit difficult. Okay. And most of the schools are looking for balanced sectional scores. One person got 315, another person also got 315. The first candidate got Quant 170, Verbal 145. Second candidate got 160 in Quant, 155 in Verbal. The second 315 is better than the first 315 from the University Admissions Committee. And that's perspective, okay? So you try to balance the score. At times, I meet a candidate when they say, sir, I'm finding Verbal very difficult, so I really do not care much about that. I'm trying to get 170 in Quant. So what if tomorrow, you get just 143 in Verbal? I think that's going to look very bad in the eyes of the admissions committee. So you do not have any choice but to look for the balanced sectional score. That's what I'm recommending. Okay. You compete in your one country pool. We're not competing with the students from South Korea or maybe China or maybe the Germany or something like that. We are competing in our one country pool. But it doesn't mean that admission is going to be very easy, but competitions will be within the country kind of thing, provided that you meet the minimum criteria. This is a harsh reality of GRE score. A good will surely 30 can 307, and if you apply to WPI, your chance of getting rejected is very, very high. Yes, I'm repeating again. What's telling you is, yes, I'm repeating again. Yes, I'm repeating. Okay. So a good score may not get you in. However, a very bad score will surely keep you out. What does that mean? Even if you get 335, nobody can guarantee that you will get into that University of Pittsburgh or Carnegie Mellon or MIT. But if you get 307 and apply to Carnegie Mellon University, your chance of getting rejected is almost maybe 90% or 95% or something like that. So GRE, that's a harsh reality of GRE score. Okay. And just just one small thing about Jamboree, what Jamboree does, because on and off I'm giving you some important information. This is what Jamboree currently, because of the current situation, we're not offering online that classroom programs, but we are offering live programs, and online is also available. I'd recommend some students, I'm pointing my that thing here. See, you can see I'm pointing my cursor here. You can go to www.jamboree.online. There is a free trial available for those who have not done so already. You can just see how that that portal is going to work. We can get some real insight into that. Okay, so this is just about Jamboree, that we are offering live programs and GRE. And important things to consider. There are very important things that you need to consider as a master's candidate, as a PhD candidate. This is what I told you, that I'm going to elaborate a bit on research work. Try to do as many projects as possible. If you are still studying, if you are in the 7th semester, 8th semester of a program, try to do as many projects as possible. If any of you, that's going to help you a lot in terms of your application. That really makes your application strong. Publications are highly valued. I think all of you guys have to write dissertation thesis, or you have to do project work. If you are able to publish that in national level journal or international level journal, or maybe you co-author that with the professor, these are highly valued. In that case, GRE score, I think, is not going to be so important. Even if you get 311, yeah, maybe your path to Carnegie Mellon University, I think it's possible. So research work are valued highly, particularly when they're published. Extremely important for funding. I told you, for assistantship, if you ask me, there is a quantitative factor, academics, GRE score, and TOEFL score or IELTS score. If you look at the qualitative factors, it's going to be statement of purpose, the content within the statement of purpose, recommendations, extracurricular activities, work experience, and research experience. So these are going to be the qualitative factors. So in the second round of assessment of admissions, your qualitative factors of the admission will play a very, very, very important role. Especially important for PhD admissions. If any one of you is here, want to apply for PhD admissions, if you have research experience, half of your job is done. If you have, maybe if you say like, that article is already published in international journal, I would be very happy to talk to that candidate. Statement of purpose, that is another factor of qualitative, that quality sides of the that qualitative factor of the admissions part. So it's going to be very, very important. I'm repeating again, your academic background, your intentions to pursue a particular course, your reasons to choose that university, your the reasons to your career plans, how it is going to help in your career plan with the program that you want to pursue. All those things come in statement of purpose. So statement of purpose also plays a very, very important. Okay. And recommendations later, I already told you. Selecting good recommenders are very, very important. Okay. These are very, very important things when you apply to masters. Academic is there. I'm repeating it again. Academics is there. TOEFL is there. GRE is there. Leave those things aside now. What is going to be more important? The first point is research work. The second point is SOP. The third point is recommendation later. That's what was going to be. Okay. So next section is going to be very, very important for you. I think you'll be very, very happy to, I think you'll have some questions in these sections as well. I'm going to talk about funding and assistance, how it is going to be like. When you apply for masters, I told you there is no separate applications for assistantship as such. Your admission application in itself is going to be an application for funding as well. So these are the things that you may get. It's going to be research assistance. Very often, for example, you apply for MS in a particular course. They gave you assistantship. So assistantship means, by the way, see, I'm repeating it again. Kushal, yeah, it was sorry for this technical glitches. I'm repeating this again. So if you're getting teaching assistantship or if you're getting research assistantship, how it is going to be is, it will be combined with tuition fee waiver. If your program costs $26,000 in a year, that will be waived. Plus, you will get certain allowance per month. You will get $950 per month. You will get $400 per month. You will get $1,200 per month. You will get $2,000 per month. So your assistantship will be combined with fee waiver. Okay. In most of the cases, it'll be combined with fee waiver. Okay. And sometimes, students are worried, sir, I didn't get the offer that I was looking for. I didn't get a good offer. I didn't get good scholarships. I didn't get good assistantship. What it is going to be like, should I really apply and all that thing? Yes. These are like, very, very subjective things. But our experience tells that most of the students who go for, that MS programs, after first semester, they end up getting some sort of assistantship. Because what happens when you go there, when you meet the professors, when you see them in person, I think that really creates a kind of rapport and that increases the chance of getting a funding. Okay. So that is also possible. So you should not worry. At times, even if you don't get, that full funding I was looking for, that's fine. You can wait. You can reapply. But there are opportunities till second semester of your master's. And if you're applying for PhD, scholarships are handed out based on merit. And let me tell you one thing very clearly. When it comes to US, scholarships are very, very less. It's going to be assistantship. Okay. And if it is scholarships, it is going to be a free money. You do not have to do anything. If it is assistantship, you are working in the university. You are working in the university graduate department. You are working with the professor for his research work. Means you're working and they are giving you something in return. That's why it's called assistantship. Okay. And if it is PhD, it's going to be 100% scholarships to PhD students. And, if it is PhD in US, the minimum allowance or a stipend that you can expect is going to be like, $16,000 per annum or maybe $20,000 per annum. If it's a rich university at times, my students have been able to get even $24,000 or $27,000 a year, right? So for PhD too, it's amazing. There is an amazing opportunity. And post-COVID scenario, how it is going to be like, some changes we have already experienced. So what are the changes that we have experienced? First, universities are speeding up the application decision. If some of you are planning to apply, I do not think that you need to worry. Universities asking hard copies of transcripts are accepting scanned copies now, because it's very difficult to send the couriers and all that thing. There are no international flights and all that thing. Third, universities are accepting online English tests like Duolingo. I do not know whether you've heard about Duolingo or not, because the TOEFL and IELTS are called SEL test, secured English language testing. We call it SEL, right? Duolingo, you can take it from home, online, personal, right? Still they have accepted because of this pandemic. Few universities have waived GRE requirements. I think some of you are under the impressions that many universities have waived the GRE requirement. It is true. Few universities have waived GRE requirements. That too was for fall. Nothing is known yet for even January 2021. So my expectation is that for 2021 fall, it's not all universities, few universities. So my recommendation, you should take GRE for sure. Funding will be slightly more competitive. Work on your profile. This is what I'm telling you, because of the pandemic, as everybody knows, that the university's revenue has gone down. Universities, that enrollment has gone down. So my expectations, this is totally my personal, that opinion. So there are possibility that university may increase scholarships, but assistantship may be difficult to find, because what is going to happen in 2021? There will be candidates who are waiting, who have deferred their admissions. They are going to apply in 2021. Plus, there will be regular candidates who will be applying in 2021. So competition is likely to be more. So we really need to work on the profile. That's for 2021. Okay. I'm almost towards the end of the session. Then I'll start taking the questions. Okay. And how, this is just a brief thing about how you education first, and how Jamboree is going to help in university admissions counseling, since this was more like university admission counseling, that part. So I'm going to just give you a brief idea. We help in so help documentation assistance can be there. Interview training, we are there. At times we can, voice was. I'm repeating again. So application assistance is there. Interview training is there. Visa counseling guidance is there. Visa mock interview is also there. So it's like complete service, particularly if you want to apply, if you think like you need, I think most of the candidates, they think like they can apply on their own. That's perfectly fine. We absolutely understand that. But if you feel like you need professional admission consulting service, we do that. From A to Z, we provide that service. Okay. In the end, this is a small, that suggestion, because this seems, very, very relevant. Keep watching. Avoid social gathering. Keep yourself updated with genuine news. Be aware of the fake ones. There are so many fake news going around, so you really need to be clear. Because I am a very, very optimistic person, so I would like to end this session by saying this: you have to be strong. Be strong, because things will get better. It may be stormy now, but it never rains forever. That's what I believe in. There is always, it's not going to rain forever. So there'll be, that thing. So we need to believe in that. Things are going to get better. You just need to work on that thing. Okay. So I will start taking the questions from the beginning. Let me start. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. So I will start taking the questions. Please, let me. Okay. So, Ramesh was talking about economics. It's the same thing. Application process is same. Even for agriculture, Sabina had questions for agriculture. It's the same thing. Combined together, you need to apply. Your chance of scholarship is there. Economics, it's going to be a bit difficult. Agriculture, chance of getting funding is very high. Agriculture is very, very, there's so much funding available in agriculture. Economics, it's a bit competitive. Still funding is possible. I would like to meet you in person, Ramesh. So I'll be happy to answer any queries, that we can have one session for that as well. Bhavana has a question, sir. Please tell about English education in questions and answer session. So, what specific questions you do? I do not know, Bhavana, what questions you have, but I think these things have already covered. The application process is going to be same. Getting scholarships in English is going to be same. Applying for scholarships in English is going to be same. Getting scholarships in English is going to be same. Applying for scholarships in English is going to be same. So I'd request, I'm sorry, I'd request you to type the questions. Whatever questions you have, I'm going to answer this. Application timeline. Vakta has a question. It's going to be application timeline. I'd recommend if you're preparing for GRE, if you want to apply for fall, that is August class in 2021, I would recommend that you intend to apply by 1st of December this 2020, because earlier you apply, better the chance of getting funding. Okay, earlier you apply, better your chance of getting funding, or get better your chance of getting acceptance. That's why application timeline is going to be like that. Sunil has a question. Will there be any negative consequences if I deferred my admissions to spring instead of joining this fall? It's not going to be a problem at all, Sunil. It's absolutely fine. You give a clear message to the university. If you have, you ask them to issue a new I-20, you can apply for a visa, within 120 days from the start of the program. So there is no issue as such. Rima has a question, sir. MS in public health. MS in public health, you can apply. There are amazing public health programs, and I do not know. I think if you are, I do not know, Rima. I'm just giving you a reference. If you watch, CNN, they give you update regarding coronavirus, right? And in that update, what they do is sometimes they say like, source is Bloomberg School of Public Health. So Bloomberg School of Public Health is like Johns Hopkins University. So there are some amazing programs for public health in US. Application process is same. You unfortunately have to take GRE for public health if you want to get. And there are some, that SOFAs and all those things are there, which I definitely want to talk you in one-on-one session. Funding for masters in pharmacology, medical chemistry, it is possible. Hobby, it is possible for medical chemistry and all those things, since these are applied. Even pharmacology, you can get even full assistance. There are possibilities. There is no issue as such. But it is just that if you have any research experience for funding, it's going to be very, very helpful. Jyoti has a question. Sir, I'd like to know if gap in bachelor's degree will affect my academic factor if my GPA is good. See, Jyoti, first, US admissions committee, university admissions committee will never consider the kind of gap that you have after bachelor's. If you have relevant work experience, it will not be even considered as a gap. That will help you in your applications rather. Many universities would prefer candidates with 2-3 years of work experience. Okay, so you do not need to worry, Jyoti, at all for gap in bachelor's degree. But how you are going to justify that gap? Have you worked? Have you got relevant work experience? That matters. Okay, so you do not need to worry. And you mentioned that GPA is good, which is incredible. I think you got your answer. Ashish, civil engineering funding, as I told you, STEM. When I say STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM for STEM, America is a haven for STEM. There is so much funding available for that STEM field. So of course there are very good opportunities for civil engineering as well. So I mean, you have this is a private questions, but I'll not take the name. I'll just read the that question. What is the deadline for applications to spring 2021? I would say July 1st, applications for 2021 January has already started. So the last date, if you want to apply for spring 2021, means for the class starting 2021 January, I would say by October 1st, you should apply. Because there are so many candidates who are already waiting. In the fall, they are deferring it to January session. So there could be some visa issues, visa date issues. So my recommendation is you apply as early as possible. But the last date is going to be 1st of October for January 2021. Ayush has a question. Is there any specific way to convert percentage to GPA on 4.0 scale? Yes, there is something called WES, which you can, there is if you go to WES.org website, there is a free tool analysis. You can include all the details from your transcript, and then they will convert that for you. And if you want to have official one, they'll charge you, but free tool is also available there in WES.org. Okay, Ayush? And it is not necessary. At times, students are confused. I think this is a very important question. I just want to tell, I've got a percentage. It is not necessary that you definitely have to convert your percentage into GPA. There is no necessity as such. Until and unless university asks for it, you can go to WES.org. There is a free tool. Assistant, but it's going to be difficult. Bibek Thapa has a question. How much? My voice was breaking. I'm repeating this again. MEM program scholarship is going to be a bit difficult. Assistantship is going to be a bit difficult, but still there are small, lean hopes of getting funding. It depends on your profile. Bibek has a question. How much role does GPA play in acceptance? It does play a very good role, particularly if you want to apply to a competitive school. As I told you, whether you want to apply to Arkansas State University or Georgia Tech University. Georgia Tech is top notch there. Arkansas State is somewhere down there, right? So it does play a very important role when you apply to a top schools like, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, or maybe, if you want to apply to Virginia Tech for that matter, Carnegie Mellon, that kind of schools, definitely GPA does matter. Rishika has a question. Thank you, sir. The webinar was very helpful. Thank you so much. Now, funding, Hari Bansa has a question. Funding in hydropower water resources, amazing. Hydropower and water resources engineering, as I told you, it's a STEM designated programs. There are very good opportunities for funding. And we have one announcement. If you read the chat box, dear all, please drop your number and email ID. This is what we are requesting. So you can do that. So I'll appreciate if you can do that. We have another questions. Sir, can you tell about Himalaya has a question, sir. Can you tell about the environmental engineering? It's civil engineering graduates can do environmental engineering. So the scholarship opportunities, assistance opportunities is almost same. At times even higher. So environmental engineering, America is again that very good place to pursue, particularly if you want to do MS specialized in civil environmental engineering, not going for civil engineering. Yes, see what I'm doing. Still we have a very good participants here. I can have a one-on-one session tomorrow. I'm going to have a one-on-one session tomorrow for all those interested participants who were present and who attended today's sessions. So for that reason, we are requesting you to drop your email ID or phone number for that matter. Vakta has a question. Is research required for MEM? Not necessarily. It's not required, Vakta. Mohan has a question. Are full scholarships available for MS in computer science? Yes, it is. But MS computer science is the most competitive program in US. That's why we really need to be selective when we apply to masters. But there are full scholarship opportunities available in MS computer science. Ramesh has a question. Can I join MS even if I have completed my masters in Nepal? You can definitely. We need to see your bachelor score, a percentage. We need to see your work experience. Based on that, you can definitely apply for masters, in US. Vivek has questions. What if we have gap and do not have work experience as well? In that case, I need to talk to you in person. For which, please drop your email ID and number. Our team will get back so that I can have a private, that one-on-one session tomorrow. I think 2 to 4 is what our team has decided. Yeah, you can read this. This is very important. I'm going to read this announcement once again. Please drop your number and email ID to register for 1 versus 1 session with me, scheduled tomorrow between 2 to 4 p.m. I'll be so happy to talk to you in person. It's going to be one-on-one session. Okay. Susmita has a question. If I'm applying again to a university second time, should I change my SOP even if my intent is similar? If what is the cause of applying? That is what I need to know first. What didn't work out in your applications? I need to see that. Then on that basis only, then I can answer that questions. Okay, Susmita, we can have one-on-one session for that. I'd recommend one-on-one session for that. Mohan has a question. Do we get more scholarships in January intake or August intake? There is no specific answer to this question, but August is a major intake. That's why I would still recommend, if you can, you apply for August, but it doesn't mean that there are no scholarship opportunities available in January. There are scholarship opportunities available in January as well, in August as well. Jyoti has a question. Will internship before graduation be considered as experience? No. Asmita has a question. Can one apply directly for PhD after bachelor? Absolutely, Asmita. This is a very good question. You know, in US, if you have 4 years of bachelor's, you do qualify to apply for a direct PhD program. Absolutely, you can apply. Asim has a question. Is working in different field than the MS program considered as a gap, or will it help as work experience? It'll not be considered as a gap, but it'll not help that much in your application. The admissions committee will not be so fond of, you know, not having relevant work experience. Okay. Asmita has a question. Spring or fall, which one is better for MS? I would say both. It depends on at times go to Xan. Has to business analytics. Yes, it is a bit difficult, unfortunately, because business, you know, getting admissions into, I think my voice was breaking. I'm repeating this again. Sweta, your question was, is it difficult to get scholarship for MS in business analytics? Yes, it is a bit difficult to get scholarships in MS business analytics, because getting accepted into business analytics itself is difficult. That's why getting funding is even more difficult. But it's not like, you know, you will not get it, but it is difficult. Probina has a question. I have only one question, since you're focusing on profile, but I could not clearly understand what exactly profile means. Probina, I'd request, I'll take you to the, that first, I'll share, that first slide where you will get my details with my WhatsApp number and my email ID. What you can do is, like, you just send me a CV. I'll have a, I'll have a detailed understanding of her profile, and I can give you some suggestions. I'll do that. Yeah, there are so many email. Thank you so much for sharing email. I see so many, so many of you have shared the email. Now Harivansa has a question. Does publication in one field help in admissions in another field? It is going to be a bit difficult. Harivansa, it's going to be a bit difficult. Galaxy, there's no name. It's Galaxy 18. Sir, can I directly apply for PhD if I have completed masters in pharma? You can, absolutely. But my work experience is not about research. It depends, but you can, I think you can still apply for a PhD if you get now a good GRE score. If there is no, significant work experience, now GRE becomes very important if you want to apply for PhD. Prasamsa has a question. What about the gap in our work experience due to the lockdown? This is what I was going to tell you. This is a very good question. I thank you so much for asking this question, Prasamsa. In lockdown, what you could have done is, like, you can go to Coursera, or you can go to edX, you can go to FutureLearn. You can take some, short online university courses in your field. That is how you can justify your gap. Or even if you write a blog, if you make videos for YouTube, you are a freelance worker, all these things can justify your, lockdown gap. It's not going to be an issue. Prasamsa, okay? Sunil has a question. Sir, I have been hearing that joining the graduate study in the fall season is more beneficial than in spring. Can you provide any information on this matter? My question, my answer to this question is, if you're applying to, for example, if you're applying for PhD, definitely, there is only one intake, it's going to be fall. Okay. Beyond that, I do not see any, that difference in applying for, that January or fall, provided that your program is also available in spring. Having said that, I'm repeating it again. fall is going to be a major intake. All the courses are offered in major intake, that is fall. That's why there are, that's why that students get to tend to get more funding in August. That's why we are under impressions that fall is going to be more beneficial, but at times students get good funding even in January. Asta has a question. Master score of Nepal does not count if we are planning to study MS. It does count, Asta. Who told you that? It does count. You have done masters. I think if someone gave you that information, that's absolutely wrong. It does count. Okay, so you do not need to worry about that at all, Asta. Samyamta has a question. Is it possible to pursue chemical engineering after BSc? It's a bit difficult, Samyamta. If you have done, BSc physics or chemistry, engineering, it's going to be hardcore program. That's why it's going to be a bit difficult. I would not recommend so. Rima has a question. What about scholarship opportunities for in public health? I think I've already answered this question. It's going to be a bit difficult. It's not impossible, but a bit difficult. Savina has a question. Is one publication sufficient for better funding in MS Agriculture? Something is better than nothing. So having one application will also help you. Kusal has a question. Is it possible to get assistance and scholarships? Both. It's difficult. But at times what happens is like, if you get assistantship, they will not give you scholarships because it already covers everything. But if you get partial assistantship, there are possibilities that you may get scholarships as well. But usually both do not go, well together. Asim Thapa, MS in Industrial Engineering Insights, please. It's amazing. I think if I'm not wrong, I think Pulchok Engineering Thapatali, campus has Bachelor's in Industrial Engineering. We do get very good number of students who do GRE, and I have already counseled so many students in Industrial Engineering. There are good opportunities for industrial engineering, and the candidates with the industrial engineering background can even apply for, that mechanical and that some mechanical and electrical, some other field as well. Assistantship is also possible. Asim. Bhavna has a question. Sir, if I have gap, but more than, experience with more than certificate of webinar or can we I'll share my slide, and that you can give you my that does as well. Wait it again. Okay. It's same. Subhas, MS in Structural and Resource Engineering. It's going to be admissions idea. Subhas, I already covered. It's going to be a combination. So many factors decide admissions. So many factors decide admissions. It's going to be standardized tests. It's going to be academics. It's going to be SOP. It's going to be letter of recommendations. It's going to be extracurricular activities. It's going to be work experience. It's going to be research. So many things, Subhas. I'm getting so many questions. I was there. Okay. Monos has a question. So do we need to follow professors individually even before taking GRE exams? If you're applying for a PhD, there is no harm in writing to the professor. Because for PhD, the professor usually makes the decisions whether they have funding available or not. So I do not see any harm in writing to the professor. Ranju has a question. If we differ fall 2020 in spring 2021, can we reapply for a scholarship? That depends on the university, but in my opinion, I think the scholarship will stand. So there, in my opinion, it won't be any problem at all. You write to the university in a nice way that the visa post in Kathmandu has not opened. That's why you are requesting them to defer your admissions for January 2021 instead of fall 2020. Abirul has a question, sir. What is the last date of application for fall semester? That depends on profile, but if you ask me, it's going to be February 1st of that year. If you want to apply for that August 2021, February 1st is going to be my last deadline. After that, even if someone comes to me for admission consulting and wants to enroll for admission consulting service, I just need to check. That's going to be case by case. So February 1st, I would say. Okay. Asim has a question. Only Thapatali campus has industrial engineering. So thank you. Yeah. That I didn't know that, but Thapatali campus. Yeah. Subhas has a question. I'm civil engineering student and passed out in 2014 AD and have 5 years. That's going to be amazing, Subhas. If you have relevant work experience, your chance of getting funding becomes even high. So you do not need to worry at all. Mohan has a question. Does recommendation from foreign students starting in the applied university help chances of getting accepted? Mohan, you need to justify your relationship to the recommender. For example, I know a person who is a, army, chief of army staff. He's going to recommend me. If I'm not related to him, it's not going to help. I know a guy who is a, that PhD from Harvard University, but I'm not related to him. That's not going to help. So you should be able to justify your relationship with the recommender. Okay. Ashish has a question. Can we use recommendations from our employer instead of professors? You can. If you have work experience, you definitely can use, recommendations from your employer instead of professor for sure. Absolutely. Even retired, you can. Because, at the time when you were working, he was also working. Or maybe you were reporting to him. So you can use. Probina has a question. My TOEFL score is 100. I mean, this is like private, so I'm not going to tell the number. But your score is this, and on speaking and on writing, but my GRE score is this. This doesn't me to. I would Probina, it looks as if, looking at this score, I would request you to retake GRE. Your TOEFL score is amazing. If you feel, your GRE score doesn't look that impressive, so I would definitely request you to reappear for, that GRE. I think you can definitely improve at least by, 15 points. That you also have to talk to our faculty. If you have taken class in Jamboree, you have to be in touch with faculty. They can guide you better. In my opinion, I think you can easily improve by another 15 or 20 points. With that score, it's going to be a bit difficult. So with Probina, with that score, it's going to be a bit difficult to get assistance. That's why I would recommend you. These are private questions from you, Kushal. Okay. Plan to do a few words on edX. Can Jamboree help me in payment for the course because I'm unable to do so? See, if you want to make the payment, that Kushal, if you have friends, in abroad, the credit card from Nepal doesn't work. I do not know whether you can make the payment from bank or not. Even if Jamboree recommends you to make the payment from bank. So if you live in Chitwan, I think you contact, one student told me that, Chitwan, Nabil Bank in Chitwan, they provide online banking services. So I would recommend, be in touch with them. But you can. It's not off-track questions. I'm happy to answer any questions. There is no questions, off-track questions as such. Prasamsa has a question. So what are the chances of the US Embassy opening for visa applications? Prasamsa, things are still uncertain, but since, the Nepal government has lifted down the lockover yesterday, it all depends on how you think. Because rather still for August, it's going to be a loss, but it is all because of the pandemic. There are chances, I think they may still open within another 3 to 4 weeks. If they are not opening, I would recommend you that you defer your admissions for January 2021. Can a professor from environmental engineering recommend for water resources? I think yes. How beneficial will that be? In that case, I need to see a complete profile, Haripansa, but he can definitely recommend. Sajay Shrestha has a question. When will test centers open? The test center has already opened for GRE and IELTS. The center has already opened. Right time for GRE exam to apply for fall. Exactly, that's what I believe. If you're planning to take GRE, or if are already taking GRE, test preparations, I would recommend that within October or November, maybe, you should be at last, by the end of November, you should be giving a GRE. For those who are planning, who have already completed the GRE within another 2 months, I would recommend you can give GRE. Yes, this is the right time to apply for, GRE for next fall, Vakta. Ashish has a question. What are the specific requirements for teaching assistantship and research assistantship? Are there any differences? There are no differences as such. They may look into this and that, depending on your profile. Whatever I discuss in the admission criteria sections, combining so many factors, are going to decide your chance of getting research assistantship or teaching assistantship. Sudarshan has a question. Is it a good idea to email 2 or more professors from the same department? I would say not. Initially, just write to one professor, and you see whether you get the reply or not after 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. If we do not hear from that professor, then maybe you can try the professor from the same department. And for GMAT, the date, the center is not open yet, but it'll open soon, Sajia. So you should not worry. It's a private questions. Your audio went out, sir. My question, I couldn't hear. What was your question, Prasamsa? Can you repeat it once again? I think I answered this question. What are the chances of the US Embassy opening for visa applications? That was your questions, right, Prasamsa? Your questions is like, there are possibilities. Let us wait for 3 to 4 weeks. If it is not opening in 3 to 4 weeks, it's better that we are deferring the admissions in Jan 2021. I think that seems all. I thank you so much for attending these sessions and making it a great success. I hope to see some of you in one session tomorrow. Whatever number of you I can accommodate tomorrow, I'll do that. Else I can continue that on Sunday as well. So you do not need to worry at all. So I'm going to take the last questions from Sushil. Is community service or voluntary experience in reputed organizations for Nepal plus point? It is a plus point if you're applying for MBA. For STEM courses, we need to see. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.